What's going on, everybody? Are you like me and not too sure what you're going to be watching, what you're going to be streaming for movies and shows and entertainment for the month of April? Well, for people like you and for people like me, I wanted to talk about that today and bring to you guys a list and breakdown of what is coming to the theaters, but not just that, to streaming shows, places like Paramount Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and also in the movie theater to get you guys ready to get the most out of your entertainment experience this month of April. And so this is the Pop Culture Lighthouse, where every week we like to provide you guys with helpful tips, recommendations, insights that will help you to hopefully better navigate the world of pop culture entertainment and also simplify your experience with that as well. My name is Nadal, and yeah, I'm really excited to be getting into today's video and today's topic for today. And for the video, I'm going to be breaking down the list of what's coming out. I'm going to be going from the lowest level of my expectation and my anticipation for these things all the way up to the highest. So we're going to start around the bottom tier, like the bottom of where my hype and my excitement is. I'm not saying that that shouldn't be what you should be excited about, because we might have different tastes and we might have different backgrounds and what we like. But I can only go off of what I'm really excited for and what I would totally recommend to my friends and family and people that know me. So we're going to start with the bottom for me, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you just to keep some things on your radar that might not have been on your radar before. And just thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching this video. And yeah, let's get right into it. Why not? And the first movie slash show that we want to talk about for today, at the bottom level of my expectation, is the latest Fantastic Beast movie, Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, the reason why this one's at the lowest level for me in terms of expectation is just simply because I haven't watched the other Fantastic Beast movies. It's been a long time since I watched the first one, and I didn't really watch all of the first one. I thought the characters were kind of cool. The story was okay. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan. I've seen the movies. I really like the old movies. I enjoy them a lot. But in terms of Fantastic Beasts, I'm not, what you would call a big fan of it. Not because I hate it, but just because I haven't watched it and it's not as interesting or appealing to me personally. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, if you're a fan of the Fantastic Beasts movies, I think that you should definitely give this a try. Check it out. And it does come out, I believe, on April 15th. So on April 15th, make sure that you guys, if you're a fan of this stuff, make sure that you, maybe take some time to go see this and see what your thoughts and stuff are. Mads Mikkelsen is playing Grindelwald, I believe, too. So that's replacing the character that was played by Johnny Depp. So that's going to be pretty interesting going into that. So that's going to be the first one for recommendations for this month. And number two is Liam Neeson. He's back. And he's out for revenge again in the movie Memory, which is coming out April 29th. And it's another action movie that Liam Neeson's in that involves him getting revenge and killing, like being a professional killer at one point, an assassin type character, and he gets caught up in a moral dilemma. He has to try to save someone that he's hired to kill. And the other thing about these Liam Neeson movies that have been coming out recently is that it's not just the revenge plot, but it's also like some type of gimmick. So in this movie, the gimmick is that he's not just an assassin trying to do the right thing, but he's also losing his memory. He's kind of like going crazy, or he has these pills that he's taking in the trailer. He's losing his mind. He's not sure where he's at times. So that alone is interesting enough for you to possibly give this a watch, to possibly give this a try. I know that I'm at least intrigued by it. I know that Liam Neeson's getting older. He's not the same age he was before, when he could pull off a lot of these stunts. And so I think he's really been trying to crank out as many of these action movies in the realm of like the Taken type of era. And he's trying to do as many as he can before he's, steps away from that type of thing, before it's just too taxing on him at his age. So all the credit in the world to Liam Neeson for this. Guy Pearce is also in this movie too. He plays, I think, an FBI detective agent who is sort of at the trying to catch the Liam Neeson character, but also they probably work together a little bit too, it seems in the trailer. So Guy Pearce is great. Liam Neeson is great. And I think that this could be something that might be interesting. But again, this is sort of starting at the bottom level in terms of my expectations. So don't go in if you do watch this movie expecting, Liam Neeson's greatest movie ever. I think just having that expectation would be helpful. So that's number two. And moving on to number three is the DreamWorks animated movie, The Bad Guys. And so this movie is lower on the list as well too. I like DreamWorks. I like the animation style for this movie. I've seen the trailer many times by now because all the movies you go see in the theater, this is one of the trailers that is constantly playing, and it seems cute. It seems interesting. The characters are like this wolf. As you can see, some of these predator like animals. It's almost like a Zootopia type world, I want to say, where you have these anthropomorphized animals who are have different jobs and different professions, and some of these characters are like bank robbers and burglars, and so they have a chance to convince people that they're good, and they're trying to pull off this ruse, like to make people think that these like oh, we're good now, and they're trying to, I guess, trick people in the movie. But then it seems like the bad characters that are trying to pretend that they're good they actually end up becoming good because they realize, oh, it is better to help people than steal from them, hurt them, whatever it is. So it seems like that type of movie, more of like a family focus story, which is fine. I think that families would get a lot out of this movie. I like the art style, but overall, this is still low on my list because the story doesn't really hit me as something even like a Zootopia, which it kind of seems like it's trying to be like. And I think it's not going to quite hit those levels for me in terms of like excitement, just based on the story and that type of thing. But I do think that the art style is cool. Some of the characters might really steal the show, and they might be really funny. It seems like like a bunch of comedy elements in it. So it might be that feel good type movie that you'd want to go see. Definitely something for the kids to check out. So this movie, The Bad Guys, is coming out in theaters on April 22nd. So that's going to be number three for this list. And moving right on to number four. So now we're getting a little bit higher on the tier list, but still sort of towards the bottom. And this movie is coming out on Netflix, and it is called Metalheads. And this movie, Metalheads, is sort of like these kids, they're in like high school or middle school. I think it's high school. And it's like this battle of the bands type thing where, these kind of band nerds are, like what you would stereotypically see as a band nerd is introduced, or a big fan becomes a fan of heavy metal, and befriends someone who is also a heavy metal enthusiast, and they form this band, and so they're trying to like win this battle of the bands, and they're trying to just be the best band that they could possibly be in terms of metal music. And there's like a love plot, and it's rated R for language and a couple other things. It's more adult centered. It's going to really hit, I think, a lot of the adults that grew up with that uh, more that metal, like the type of bands and stuff that they are going to probably reference in this movie are going to hit a lot of older people, but as well as younger people too. I mean, there's people that I know that are younger that are into metal and stuff like that, but definitely something that is going to be kind of cross generational, I think. And the writing and the dialogue from the trailer doesn't seem cringy. It seems pretty crisp, especially coming from Netflix, which is kind of hit or miss sometimes. I think that this is going to be one of the higher tier. Now, the other reason why it's on my radar, if you guys know anything about this movie, is that it's the first Netflix project, or one of the first Netflix projects from the showrunners and writers of the Game of Thrones HBO series. So Dan and Dave are from that show, are here directing and producing this movie for Netflix. So say what you want about the ending of Game of Thrones. Everybody talks about the ending of Game of Thrones and how that went, and not sure if they can kind of recover from that. It'll be interesting to see going into the Netflix era for their careers, what type of movie content, what type of show content they're going to be creating going forward. So I am intrigued. I'm excited to kind of see what type of project this is going to be. Is it going to really hit the target, or is it going to be just another sort of Netflix coming of age type story that you don't have to necessarily have watched. It's not like won't be a must see, but still very interesting and intriguing. And let's hope that stuff like this is good, and we get to have a wide variety of content coming from the former creators of Game of Thrones, which used to be one of the best shows for sure. I mean, it took a downhill spiral the last 2 seasons, obviously, but still some of the greatest television moments in television history. You got to give them the props for that. But we'll see what they're doing going forward. And that's number 4 on the list. Yep. And so number 5 on the list. So now we're getting into some other things that are interesting, still lower on the level of my anticipation. And it's mostly this next one is because I haven't really actually seen this show, and this show is called Russian Doll, and its season 2 is going to be premiering on April 20th on Netflix. So this is a Netflix show. I haven't seen it. That's one of the reasons why it's lower on my list. It was Emmy nominated and has a whole bunch of nominations and stuff like that, especially for the lead actress, who's also the producer of the show. And it seems like kind of a dark comedy, a little bit of Groundhog Day, reliving the same day over and over, some dark humor, some dark comedy, and like midlife crisis type stuff. Takes place in New York, I believe. It's kind of grungy. So definitely very popular with audiences right now on Netflix. So if you haven't seen Russian Doll like me, maybe give it a chance. I'm not sure exactly what to expect from the show, but I think that just with the amount of people talking about it and the type of accolades and the Emmy nominations and stuff like that, I mean, I think that's worth at least to check out season 2 or to watch season 1 and then check out season 2, which will be premiering once again on Netflix on April 20th. So the next one on the list for me is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So this is coming out on April 8th. And I liked the first Sonic movie. I thought it was pretty fun. And this movie looks like Jim Carrey is really going to be stealing the show, and Knuckles from the video games. And if you guys know the Sonic, video games and the Sonic characters, Knuckles is going to be in it. Sonic's longtime sidekick and best friend Tails is going to be in it. So there's going to be some fun times. I think some fun banter between Sonic and Tails. Obviously, Knuckles and Sonic, it's going to, they're going to fight. There's going to be some fun action scenes and stuff like that. And definitely something for the kids, because I saw so many kids talking about Sonic. They really enjoy Sonic. I mean, it's a huge hit with a lot of people, especially families. So if you're looking for a family-friendly outing, something cool to watch with the family, April the 8th, Sonic the Hedgehog number 2 comes out in theaters. And so you are definitely going to want to try to check that out. Now, moving right on back to Netflix. Ozark season 4 part 2. So this is lower on my list as well, sort of mid-level of my list, because I haven't actually watched Ozark other than like the first episode. And I really like the first episode. I mean, I really like the tone of the show. I like the characters so far. I like what they're setting up is really interesting. But that's why, because if I really watched the show, if I was into season 4, if I'd been caught up, I think that obviously this would be a lot higher on my list to try to see how the story concludes, because season 4 is the final season of Ozark. And so you obviously want to see how it ends. And I think that there's just so much hype around the show for the people that watch it. It's one of Netflix's main title programs that they promote quite often. And so I think that this is definitely going to be worth your watch, worth your while. Get caught up if you're someone like me who hasn't really seen the show, and then see how the show and the story ends. And if you're satisfied, if you're not satisfied, but definitely something to keep on your radar. And the next one is another Netflix / AMC show, which is Better Call Saul, season 6, which I believe is the last season. It's going to be premiering on AMC and Netflix on April 18th. And I'm saying this one because I know Alex out there, he helps me out with the show, and he's a guest and helps me host quite often. He is a big fan of Better Call Saul, so he has this show, season 6, way higher on his list. So it's sort of towards the bottom mid for me, because I haven't seen Better Call Saul other than the first couple episodes, which I really enjoyed. But to be honest, I kind of fell out of it. I didn't really like I guess at the time when I was watching it, I wasn't really into it, but still, it was a cool the drama, the characters, once again, super interesting. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad a lot, and so this sort of felt like a similar universe and everything. So if you're a fan of those shows of Breaking Bad, that type of thing, then definitely check out Better Call Saul if you haven't already been watching it. So season 6 is going to be premiering on April the 18th on AMC and Netflix. And yeah, that's going to be something to definitely check out. And Alex would definitely be one of the people to tell you about that. And moving right along to the next one, we have The Bubble coming to Netflix on April the 1st. And The Bubble is a movie about the it's basically a group of actors. It's like a pandemic uh like the first pandemic movie, right? Like where these actors and actresses are trying to make this movie. I think it's called like Cliff Beast 6 or something. They're trying to make this big CGI crazy dinosaur type movie. And during the pandemic, and they get trapped in this bubble for like quarantine and stuff in this hotel. And so it seems like a really funny, it's a Judd Apatow film. It seems like this sort of comedy. So and Pedro Pascal's in it, which is awesome. I really enjoy his work. Keegan Michael Key, and other people that are, I think, gonna add that sort of comedic sort of element to this movie. So it'll be interesting to watch at least. I'm always down for a good comedy, and the trailer did make me laugh a little bit. And it's one of the first, as I said before, one of the first like quarantine, like big quarantine movies, talking about what happened the past couple of years with the virus and everything. I mean, obviously it's gonna do something to do something original because we haven't seen a lot of those types of movies yet, but we're going to probably start to see a whole wave of these types of movies. But I like the cast and I like the concept, and the trailer did make me chuckle. So I'm definitely interested in watching this movie, The Bubble, on April 1st. And so we're going to keep it moving right up the list is Morbius. So Morbius is a little bit higher on my list than I think some people would probably put it lower, especially coming from some of the reviews and things that I've kind of been hearing floated around that's not as good. But the reason why I have it where it is because to me, I'm just excited for the Spider-Man universe coming off of No Way Home. And I believe that I'm just hoping that Sony and Marvel have worked out what they're going to do with the Spider-Man character, who's going to make a cameo, and I have a hope, I have a belief that they're going to do something to bring in either Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or something into the Spider-Verse, the Venom universe with some of these other Spider-Man characters that Sony's been making these spin-off movies for. And so I'm just looking forward to more Spider-Man stuff, to be honest. And so that's why I kind of have hope that Morbius is going to do something for that. Maybe at least like a post-credit scene or something where maybe we get an idea of what the Spider-Man character and the other Spider-Man characters around the story, what they're doing and what they're up to. It'd be so cool if Andrew Garfield, right? If he if he pops up or something happens. I mean, I'll be so hyped because of what he was able to do and what they're able to do with his story in Spider-Man No Way Home. And so I'm just still off that high, to be honest. I'm still high on that movie. I'm not coming down anytime soon. So Morbius is finally coming out in theaters on April 1st. So I definitely want to go check it out, even if the reviews and some of the things being said about it might not have it as high in terms of quality and that type of thing. Don't expect like the highest level of movie making in this type of movie, but still, hopefully that hype around Spider-Man can still be and what Sony is going to be doing next because of what they do in Spider-Man No Way Home and how they transition their character into what they're going to be doing going forward. So I'm just excited to see what they're going to do with the Spider-Man universe. So moving right on to the next movie that I'm actually really hyped for, which is the movie Ambulance, which is coming out April 8th. And this movie is a Michael Bay movie, so of course it's not going to be, like I said before for Morbius, it's not going to be the highest level of cinematic quality, but I enjoyed some of the Transformer stuff. I enjoy his style. of directing in some certain aspects, especially just with the visuals and stuff, which are sometimes really gorgeous. And I think that, in terms of action, he can do a really good job. But this movie, obviously starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul Mateen. I think that's how you say his name. Both really incredible actors, and they play these really interesting characters that get caught up with this robbery. It seems like where they have to try to pay for their mother's health care or something like that. And so they're doing these bad things, but they're doing it for good reason. So they're not like totally terrible characters. And so they try to steal, but then they get caught or something happens. So they have to steal an ambulance, and then things go from bad to worse. And they have to try to, figure out how to get out of the situation of being trapped, escaping in this ambulance. So it's an interesting premise. At least there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of slow-mo scenes, and all the stuff that Michael Bay does, right? But hopefully there's also going to be some heart here, it seems, with the two characters, their brotherhood, their relationship, and also their situation trying to make it, trying to survive and being stuck and being hunted down in this ambulance. And I think there's someone like dying in the back seat of the ambulance, it seems like, and this patient's in the back seat, and so they got to try to like keep him alive. It might be a very stressful movie. So so that might be, but it also be very entertaining to watch as well too. So Ambulance, coming out April the 8th. So next we're going to be talking about the Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This movie's coming out April 22nd. And so something I'm anticipating for sure since I saw the first trailer. I know a lot of people are interested in what Nicolas Cage is doing. His career is super interesting, from award winner to, just the most random crazy movies that you can think of. He's such an interesting character in terms of Hollywood, in terms of acting. He picks seemingly the most random roles, and this movie seems like he's playing himself, which is just hilarious. It's just this sort of like Nicolas Cage Inception concept, where he's he's playing himself, and he's like down on his luck, or he needs money, and so he has to accept an invitation from this super fan of his who is like a millionaire, or like he's offering him like millions of dollars to perform for him for his birthday or something. And so Nicolas Cage has to like, go to this super fan, and they hang out, and the trailer seems really interesting and silly. I mean, just a good time, and pretty self-aware, pretty meta, I think, too. So at the very least, you're going to get a huge helping of Nicolas Cage, which, why wouldn't you go to the movie theater to get a huge helping of Nicolas Cage? I mean, at the very least, you're going to get entertained. He's going to be doing some yelling and just all the Nicolas Cage mannerisms. So I'm looking forward to this movie. I think that the trailer sold me, and I think Pedro Pascal, once again, we mentioned him in the Bubble movie. He's going to be in this one as well, and he can do comedy, it seems like, really well, and he can do drama. So it seems like in this movie, more comedy leaning. I think that he's really going to shine as that super fan, sort of main character that gets Nicolas Cage to come be his guest. And so just to see their dynamic is going to be really interesting. And I'm looking forward to The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is a crazy title too, by the way, for a movie. So that's going to be coming out in theaters on April 22nd. And next we're actually moving really high up onto, so we just got through the middle level of my expectations. So now these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these next 7 or so are going to be the higher tier. So like the next 2 are going to be still mid-high tier, and then the last 5 will be like the pinnacle, like with the 5th one being like the pinnacle of like my most hype, my most anticipated shows and movies. But this one is sort of mid-high tier. We're getting into that level, and this is the Amazon Prime movie All the Old Knives, which is starring Chris Pine, coming to once again Amazon Prime on April the 8th. And this movie is really like this sort of CIA espionage, sort of secrets, mystery type thriller movie. And it stars Chris Pine and Fandy Newton as well is in this movie. If you haven't seen her in Westworld, she's one of the main characters in that. She's really good. Lawrence Fishburne, Jonathan Pryce, incredible actors. Chris Pine is also incredible as well too. So if you're into CIA thrillers, into dramas, I believe this is based on a best-selling novel as well too. So you have just some good source material to pull from in terms of literary origin. And I think that the trailer looked really good to me. I think that this is going to be a really solid drama, well written, well acted, well directed. So definitely check out this movie coming on April 8th. Once again, Amazon Prime. All the Old Knives, and I'm definitely excited for this one. And yeah, we're gonna move right from. We have a double dose of Chris Pine. So first we have the Amazon Prime show on April 8th, which is All the Old Knives, and then we have another another Chris Pine movie that's coming out on April the 1st, which I'm just a little bit more excited for than his other movie. And this is called The Contractor. The Contractor is coming out April 1st on Paramount Plus, and this movie is really interesting for me because the main cast is obviously Chris Pine. He plays the main character, but Ben Foster is also in this movie too. And they play this sort of brotherly role. If they're not actual brothers, they're like war brothers. Chris Pine plays a Navy SEAL or Special Forces troop, and and I think they're both friends from the Special Forces. Ben Foster's character and Chris Pine's character, and they both basically go from following orders and being in the military and stuff to becoming private contractors, carrying out these missions almost like mercenaries. And obviously, like, the lines get blurred, in these types of movies. There's like betrayal, there's going to be all these other things. And Ben Foster and Chris Pine were so good together. In the last movie I watched them together, which was Hell or High Water, which was a really good movie. Really highly recommend that movie to a lot of people. It's basically like two brothers are bank robbing, and Jeff Bridges has to try to track them down. It takes place in Texas. It's a really well written drama. It's like a Western type movie. And so seeing them in that and then seeing them together again is just so exciting for me, and something that I'm definitely looking forward to. And after seeing this trailer, it's definitely got me intrigued. And I think something that is just like his previous project, something that's going to be quality writing, quality directing, all the way around. So this is The Contractor, April 1st, Paramount Plus. Get yourself as much Chris Pine as you can. Get yourself a double scoop of Chris Pine. It'll never be bad for you. So moving right on to the top tiers. Once again, we're moving up to the highest movies and shows on my list, and I'm definitely super hyped for this next one, which is Father Stu. Father Stu is coming April 13th, and it's based on a true story of the real Father Stu, which is such an inspiring story. You should definitely check it out. He's a Catholic priest. He'd gone through a lot in his life, been basically one of those redemption stories, and I think that, being a man of faith myself and coming from a faith background, I think that this is going to be, if not the best faith-based movie ever made. It really has that type of caliber. The directing, the writing, and the performance by Mark Wahlberg in this movie as Father Stu looks like it's going to be one for just that could rival all of the movies that Mark Wahlberg's ever been in, and he's been in some pretty incredible movies. And so I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously, the subject matter, the character, the real story, trying to do that justice in Hollywood is sometimes a tall task, but I think that the trailer looks like it's going to stay true to the spirit of the real life character and all the people that he ended up helping with his life. And so Mel Gibson's going to be in it too. It's going to have some interesting moments that are going to be heartfelt, but also I think it's going to leave with this hopeful message of, faith and love and community over fear, over selfishness and pain, and embracing darkness, those types of things, which I think are really important values and messages that can really shine through on the big screen. And people can, I think, really take away a lot of really good a lot of really good messages and stuff from this movie. So I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to Father Stew, and that's going to be coming out once again in theaters on April 13th. Now we're getting up into the high tiers of what's happening. And so I don't have the picture for this one actually. So let me take that one off. So this next one is Under the Banner of Heaven, and it's coming out April 28th on Hulu. Under the Banner of Heaven is a movie that's coming on Hulu starring Andrew Garfield as he's sort of like this detective who's a man of faith, and they're investigating this community, and it seems like his faith is going to be tested by the deaths and the murder, the disappearance, whatever is happening. It's pretty vague. We're not exactly sure that the crimes are being committed. There's definitely scenes where there's been murder and stuff like that. So it's just this crime drama with this faith background in this small community that's very, once again, religious, and just having all those undertones and those types of themes. And when things go that dark, it can be, one of two ways. You can kind of go, oh, it's a little silly, or it can be done well in terms of, for example, True Detective season 1 or season 3. I really enjoyed True Detective as a series, and I think that gives me those vibes watching Andrew Garfield walk through, this country, old houses and different monuments and things like that, and old religion and superstition and the occult, all these different things mixed in with a crime drama and with a detective story. So all of those things to say that Under the Banner of Heaven, April 28th on Hulu. Andrew Garfield also looks like he gives a pretty amazing performance in this movie as well. So definitely something to check out if you are looking for something like that. And so now I have the picture for this one. So the next one after this is my second to last, most anticipated and most highest expectations for movies and shows. And this movie is the movie You Won't Be Alone, coming April 1st. And this movie is a horror movie. And I'm just one of those people. I like spooky things. I like horror movies. Not all of them, but I definitely like things that are more atmospheric and psychological. And this movie seems very psychological. Just watching the trailer, You Won't Be Alone. Numi Rapace, who she was just in the movie Lamb a couple months or last year. That was something that I saw that was weird and freaky and horror type genre. And so she's back again in this movie, and it seems like it's going to be about witches and carrying through the different afterlife and stuff like that. Like she starts in the 19th century as like this feral child, and then it seems like the spirit of the witch kind of lives on through different people's lives. It's a super weird take. It's a super weird movie. It also looks like there's like some love stuff in there too, like romance. It just looks weird, and I don't know. I think I'm just a weird guy. It just checked all the boxes for me. It looked really interesting and cool as a fan of psychological horror and that type of thing. And yeah, just something that I'm excited for and looking forward to. And I would probably recommend that you guys try to check it out. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be playing. It said coming in theaters, but I don't really see it playing anywhere near me. So maybe in other select theaters, and maybe it's coming out a little bit later. But once again, You Won't Be Alone, coming April 1st. And now we're at the highest part. We're at the end of my recommendations and expectations. And this is the movie The Northmen. I don't really have to talk about this movie that much. Just look at the image. If you guys can't see the image, it's Alexander Skarsgård wearing, he's just raging out, and he's got a wolf's head skin on his head, and he's just raging out. This movie looks fantastic. It's coming out April the 22nd. And it's a Robert Eggers film. He always does these deep psychological character study movies that deal with these deeper themes. And this movie looks like it's this epic Viking story, and it's dealing with some of these themes of revenge, of family, of honor, those types of things. So it just looks awesome. And I love Vikings. Vikings are so cool to me. And I think this is going to be, it's been one of my most anticipated movies, just looking into this year in general. Out of the entire year, it's one of my most anticipated movies. So I'm definitely going to be checking this out. I think you guys should totally check out The Northmen. If you're into that type of thing, if you're a big fan of Vikings, if you're a fan of Robert Eggers' previous movies, for example, The Witch or The Lighthouse, this movie looks like it's going to be different than those movies for sure. This sort of Viking epic revenge story, but still having those deeper, exploring those deeper themes like he's really renowned for doing. And with all that, I think that's it for today's recommendations, guide, breakdown through a whole bunch of the major releases that are coming out this month of April. We talked about we have a huge list. We have a lot we talked about, but we talked about movies like The Bad Guys. We talked about Morbius. We talked about Sonic. We talked about Under the Banner of Heaven and some stuff with Chris Pine. There's just a whole bunch of stuff this month for you. If you're a fan of drama, if you're a fan of mystery thrillers, if you're a fan of family movies and animation, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff out for you this month. And then obviously, if you're a fan of Vikings like me, The Northman's going to be probably one of your biggest anticipated movies. So let me know, you guys, what you are anticipating. Does your level of anticipation match my list? Does the same ranking and everything match up with you? Or do you have different things higher or lower? Let me know. And if there's anything I missed, or if there's something that you want to cover, or let me know, make me aware of, please let me know in the comments, or just message me, whatever it is. But just once again, thank you guys so much for listening, for watching, for being here, and choosing to just spend some time and hang out and talk about movies and shows, which is one of the things that I love to do and just have a passion for. And we hope that this conversation, that our discussion about these topics were helpful for you guys to just better navigate and simplify your experience with entertainment. And we hope to see you guys next week for another, for some more tips, for some more insights and perspective in the world of pop culture entertainment. And yeah, just hope you guys have a great night and a great day whenever you're listening or watching this. And I've been Elgin Nadal, and I will see you guys in the next one.